in the chat line, I think a lot of people are just not saying anything.
It would really be nice to get the opinion of the authorities that instilled the rules. And have them maybe explain it and put it in layman's terms for me, myself. Well, at least for me.
Here's Cottage Grove's rules on wheels and tires, and I'm going to read this verbatim.
Verbatim off of the website.
The section for wheels and tires states: max 14-inch wide wheels. Hoosier D55 spec, siping and grinding okay. Absolutely no chemicals to be used on inside or outside of tires. If you need lubricant to seat your tires on the bead, use soap and water. Random samples of the tires will be sent off to a laboratory to be analyzed. If samples are found to be chemically altered, you will be disqualified, fined, and suspended. Fine amount and suspension length to be determined.
Grooving?
Okay. Doesn't say anything about grooving. Doesn't say anything about needling.
Okay. So as a team owner or driver, my interpretation is it does say right there, siping and grinding are okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Without the mention of either one of those in the rule book, how do you not do it?
Well, here's the thing. But at the very top it says, of the rule sheet, it says, if it doesn't say you can, then you can't.
Please.
See, that's
that is
that's
the catch-all.
Well, okay, so that's one way to say, here's our rules. These are the important ones to us. If it doesn't say you can, then you can't kind of covers everything else in a general.
Wow.
I mean, I'm going to try and find Sunset's rules in my bag here.
So it's interesting.
Who was that?
That was Cottage Grove.
That was Cottage Grove. Which, I mean, they're all under the same ownership. I'm sure they've handled that business. I'm sure they've put that same tire rule universally to all three tracks. With the same ownership, you have to. You have to.
I don't like that statement. If it doesn't say you can't do it.
Well, because
how can you tell everybody everything you can do?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, but that just.
But see, you and I kind of come from the old school ways, where
we want to know the gray areas.
Ingenuity. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ingenuity was such a big thing when we were coming through racing, and even you've been around it longer than I have. But it was, finding that little bit of performance.
You find that little edge.
Well, yeah, and how you interpret the rules.
And that was usually in the gray areas.
But see, that
I
also
was deep into the gray.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That also comes from the era. That also comes from the era that we came from, where there was a page of rules that covered 5 classes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can put 5 classes of rules because it
was double spaced.
Well, they were so open. That was the thing. So now we've got this rule book that's got a lot more rules. I think it's kind of a disclaimer saying if it doesn't say you can, then you can't.
So here's the fun part, Corey. I just got to reading here. It says the exact same thing on all 3, Sunset, Willamette, and Cottage Groves.
I thought so. I thought we'd read that off before.
I don't think we'd actually.
But where does it say it has to be a big block spec tire in the rule book?
What is the difference? Excuse me, dumb it down for me, please. What is a big block tire and a small block tire?
The tread pattern.
Tread
the actual
pattern
tread,
size.
The size of the blocks. The smaller the blocks, I think they get a little better traction.
Exactly.
Okay.
Basically, think of a small block tire pattern as a factory grooved big block pattern.
And you're right when you say that. I mean, there's not a lot of difference. There is some angle cut, I think, on the big blocks. Is it the big blocks have an angle cut to them? Or no, it's the smaller blocks that have the angle cut at each end of the block, where the big blocks are cut square.
Okay.
So
where does it say you have to run a big block tread pattern?
I didn't see that in there.
If it doesn't say it, you can't do it.
So it doesn't say you can't run a small block pattern.
It doesn't say you can.
Doesn't say you can't. It says you got to run D55.
See,
I'm just going by the rules.
And this
is what I don't like about it.
This is a great conversation to have for our listeners listening, because clarification and interpretation is different amongst, okay, you can read that rule and interpret one way. Warren can get something else out of it. I can get a third opinion out of it. That's something. If you're going to set a rule like that, that's going to affect the class so
Black
drastically,
and white.
Financially and performance wise, you've got to really put those details in there.
As Darren said, it is a no-touch rule across all 3 racetracks for the tires. But where does it say you have to run the big block?
Well, according to the 3 that we just looked at, it does not say that. At least if there's been rules that have been put out, these aren't updated.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there can create a little bit of,
Well, and Darren alluded to it earlier that Willamette is going to have a tire burn-off phase. You're going to have
it's a 4 race grace period.
4 race grace period, and that's where it
really?
says.
Well, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, they've got 4 races to use what they have now before they all have to start with the big
I guess
block.
I better sit down and read the rules.
Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. This is where it talks about the big blocks and the small blocks.
Okay.
So after those 4 burn-off races, you will only be allowed to run big block D55 cut-up tires on fronts only for the remainder of the season.
So if you have any of the... Oh,
Nope.
but it has to be a big block.
No WRS2 small blocks D55s.
So if you have any big blocks now that are cut, grooved,
Correct.
you can run those on the front, but you can't run them on the drive tires.
Correct.
Well, that's good for the guys that have already bought a lot of tires.
But here's the next thing. That leaves it wide open. Because you can cut tires to improve your steering. You can groove them to improve your steering and your handling characteristics. You can for changing how the car handles and how it corners.
So really what I think that they're getting at is they really want these tires on the rear.
Mm-hmm. They're using it as a traction limiter.
Right. Okay, now that makes sense to me. I can understand why they're doing it now. I mean, I get a little more understanding of what they're doing and why. But
at the same point,
right.
In the rules, the official rules for Willamette Speedway, Cottage Grove Speedway, and Sunset Speedway Park, they say nothing about the big block versus small block tires. The only place you find that on paper is in the burn-off.
In the burn-off
announcement.
Right, yeah, the announcement there on TrophyMotorsports.com. Interesting, and it's again not trying to.
This is kind of why I was waiting to express my opinion. I need to be better educated on it before I talk.
Here's something right here. It says, for any questions, contact Jerry Schramm. His phone number is right there. I mean, that's...
It sure would be nice to get Jerry on here to talk about this.
I would love to talk with Jerry. Jerry's got reasons for doing what he does.
Sure he does. Sure. He's a busy man.
He's, with 3 tracks and the construction business and all that good stuff. I'm a very busy guy, but it's interesting because I know that there's a lot of that going on back east in the big series. Here's the rules. Here's the tires. Don't cut them.
Is that right?
There's been a lot of the big series now are saying you cannot groove these tires, and I think they have actually 2 compounds to choose from. The last one I read, I think there was actually 2 compounds they could choose from. But the rule was a no grooving rule.
I'll be darned.
Which is something that's so new. I just are they doing that to slow the cars down? Are they doing it is it a safety thing to keep? I don't understand the whole thing. If someone can educate me on that, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, same here.
So you would think if they were trying to slow the cars down, you would think they would be instituting something like NASCAR's doing with a restrictor plate, with a registered restrictor plate. Because frankly, I saw cars last year at the Wild West Shootout get absolutely destroyed based on just a touch of the wall.
Right.
I saw one need a whole new rear clip because it touched the wall. Mm-hmm. They're carrying that much speed into the corner that I can understand how.
And that's on a little modified G60 tire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sitting here going, okay, I can understand if they want to slow cars down and create a safer environment. I get that.
I think there's
better ways to do it.
More efficient ways to do that. Like
you
said,
too.
Restrictor plates, carburetor, size. Limiting what they can do with a carburetor or.
But even then, you look at the 604s in the modifieds. Those cars are hauling the damn mail.
Right, they are. But there's just I think there's a multitude of ways. You know what I meant?
Plethora.
See, this is what happened. This is
you think.
Yes, that's what happens when you start thinking.
When you're not used to it.
When you're thinking and trying to talk. There's a multitude of different ways to slow the cars down that I think are more efficient.
I don't think that's an issue. I don't think that's what anybody's intending to do.
Well,
that's my opinion.
But we're like everybody else. Why?
Exactly. And does this have something to do with tire money Hoosier or something going on? I mean, there's been rumors about that for years. Is that what's going on here?
There's always rumors about this, that, and the other thing. That is one thing that any rumor I hear, I don't believe anything until I see it.
Exactly.
I don't believe anything until it has been proven, and we know for a fact that's what it is because there's a new rumor every day.
Exactly.
This here is just, for clarification, I'd like to know why. I think Darren and every other late model driver would like to know why is this the rule. I think that's the biggest question is why. I think if you told everybody why, it wouldn't be that big of a deal anymore.
Well, let's reach out and see if we can't get Jerry to come on the show next week and explain this to us. I mean, he's going to get asked by everybody. He may as well explain it in one place.
It would be much easier for him to do it right here on the show.
It sure would.
With everybody listening. And then to have
don't
to answer
get us
that
wrong,
same
Jerry.
question.
We're not trying to put you on the spot. We just, we'd love to have clarification.
It's not about putting something on the spot. It's just
Right.
it's getting an education on why.
Right.
So, that's it. That's it as far as that subject because that was we saw multiple passionate discussions about that here at the car show.
Yeah.
Going into race season, that's one thing that those drivers in that class are really kind of.
Yeah.
It's on their mind.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the tire rule change, in my opinion, is the most expensive change.
It is a costly, and that's something that they're brought up. That it is a costly change.
The nice thing is most of those guys are running beadlock rims all the way around, so it's real easy to change tires.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot safer to change tires than it is on a modified. So, I mean, there are different things involved with it. But
well, hopefully, and we would love to have Jerry on the show, or Jimmy, even Jimmy Schramm.
Yeah.
Maybe Nikki Gamwell's got the whats and the whys that even she could answer. That would be great, just for everybody out there to get the right answer.
mm-hmm.
We'll try to get some answers for the next show.
We will work on that
and bring them to everybody out there, and so everybody can be informed.
Right.
In the know.
So, anything you guys want to talk about in the closing?
Challenge is still open on the Shriners deal.
You're serious about this? I mean, look, he put it up.
I
First thing, he puts it up, $50 challenge. His answer was Schofield. He says, "I'll match your 50 and
50.
bump it 50." It's a pretty cool
I
deal.
didn't know he's
That
playing
is
a
good.
game of blackjack or something here. Okay, I'll raise you 50. No, I can't do that. I can't afford to do that.
That's Schofield, though.
Yeah,
He's a good dude.
He is. I mean, what he did this weekend for us, we can't say thank you enough to Jim and the whole Schofield family for what they did for the show this weekend.
To everybody that participated
Except-
in the show
yes.
this week, thank you very much.
It was a great show, and we had everything from the little guys to the big guys.
A lot of people stood up, man. It was really cool to be a part of.
It was one of the neater events I've been involved with since I've been in racing. It was just a really neat deal to see the community come together that tight. And what are you working on over there, Joel?
Anything and everything.
Look at him. Look, he's working a computer. He's working 2 cell phones. This guy's bumping and grinding over here. He's trying to get some answers. But it's been an awesome deal.
Everybody's coming up dry on this one.
So it is, and that's kind of
scary.
It is. It's frustrating. But here's the thing. Northwest Dirt News will be live every Wednesday night from here on through race season. First practice is this Saturday.
This Saturday.
Weather permitting.
It's looking pretty good. Hopefully Jerry's down here to get the track prepped and.
Yeah, well, that's another rumor. That's another rumor.
It is. That is, and that just fell out of my mouth.
Well,
I apologize.
but that's what we heard. And again, not trying to
geez.
start a rumor, not trying to, we don't know. So
hopefully somebody's down here.
Either way, here's the thing. Yeah. Here's the thing about that. Whether it's Jerry himself, which is something people are talking about, or whether it's Bob Jones from Indiana, it doesn't matter. These guys have all got to race the same track.
Right.
Might
get a Halsey Farmer out there.
Well, you never know. We might get Joel out there.
Hey, I know how to run a tractor.
Yeah, into the wall.
Yeah, I put the water truck in the wall once.
I remember that. So from here on out, Wednesday nights, and we was 6 to 9 starting next week.
Man, that's past Warren's bedtime.
We're gonna have a lot to talk about. We're gonna go to work. We got a lot to do this week for multiple subjects for the next show.
Yeah.
But I am just excited to get out there to the racetrack and see practice.
Cannot wait. I want to get out of here and out to the track.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great deal, and we are looking forward to it. So, once again, from the Jetstream Aqua Massage Studio, my name is Corey.
My name